Hi, today I'll show you a mystery, sci-fi, drama movie called Circle. Spoiler warning. Couple dozen unconscious people are standing in a circle in a dimly lit room. A woman wakes up. She calls out with no response. She steps forward but a ringing stops her. She's standing on a red circle. She touches a person next to her and the buzzer rings again. A glowing circle is visible on the palm of her hand. A man tells her to stop moving and that they can see them. Another woman wakes up in panic. The man tries to calm her down, but as she steps off her spot, electricity arcs from the middle of the room, killing her instantly. Lights turn on. A ringing can be heard before a man gets zapped and moved away by an unseen force pulling on the circle in his hand. The first man to wake up tells everyone to keep their feet on their spots and that they can see them. The woman adds not to touch anyone. The ringing builds up and the electric charge hits the man who spoke up. While everyone's panicking, the Asian man figures out that he controls the arrow on the floor with his hand. He points it at a young woman and she gets zapped. He tells everyone to try moving their hands and look at the lights on the floor. They notice they only see their own arrow. The Asian man says they're choosing who dies. The ringing comes and a man gets zapped. The ringing starts again and a woman follows. The pregnant lady says they're voting and that they cast their votes by closing their hands. They try voting on a dead person but someone dies anyway. They try abstaining but it doesn't work. The guy in a blue hoodie insists they need to spend more time breaking the game and less time worrying about not dying. His strategy is to vote out old people first. The Asian guy agrees. Blue hoodie lists 6 people to vote out to buy some time. Majority disagrees, the pregnant lady being most vocal, but because there is no alternative they go with it. They turn to the Marine for information thinking he would know something about the alien invasion, but he has no clue. A younger man remembers that he was stuck in a traffic and got pulled up by a force. Some people recall the same circumstances. As old folks are getting zapped, 2 individuals start talking about what they saw on the ship. The younger man remembers a small red room and a pile of bodies as well as some gas, suggesting they were all drugged. The second of them is making less sense. He gets accused of making up lies so that people don't vote for him. He dies next. Blue hoodie says the next person on the list is the older lady with a hat. She asserts that she's 52 and has had cancer but has beaten it. Blue hoodie argues that the cancer might come back. A doctor disagrees. The older people are sick of the young guy pushing votes on them, so they get rid of him.
Fuck you.
The cancer lady thinks they should try to understand why they were chosen for this. She wants everyone to look for things they have in common. Beth talks first. She introduces herself and talks about her life, revealing she has no kids. The ringing comes and she dies. People are now reluctant to talk about themselves. Craig talks next, saying that the woman standing next to him is his wife. Someone asks if anyone else is related or knows each other. A man says he knows the doctor, Susan. They don't want to disclose how they met. Craig pleads for his wife's life, saying he's willing to die for her. Old lady gets zapped. Man with glasses turns on the Hispanic man because he doesn't speak English. A woman behind him translates and he shows a family photo. The corporate man talks about illegal immigrants and the one-armed man asks if now you need a green card to be abducted. The Hispanic man admits he was illegally in the country. The corporate man antagonizes illegal aliens, but the one-armed man argues that they work hard for minimum wage. The man with glasses says they steal American jobs. The corporate man agrees. The ringing ends and a young girl gets zapped. Everyone looks surprised. The policeman recognizes the tattooed man Raul because of the tear tattoo under his right eye and accuses him of beating up his girlfriend. Raul and the policeman argue, showing their prejudice toward each other. Finally, Raul admits to beating up his girlfriend, saying she deserved it. He gets zapped. The blonde proposes that they should figure out who's good and who's bad and kill off the bad. That might end the game. The man in black suit thinks the aliens just want to watch them kill each other for no good reason. They ponder the question of who deserves to live as the ringing comes and the Muslim woman dies. A debate about racism ensues as the African American man asks racial questions. Other African Americans try to deter him, telling him he's making himself a target. The Asian guy and the white people also agree that this conversation is going nowhere, but before the round's over, the policeman exposes himself as a racist and dies next. The Marine thinks they should move on from the topic, but the African American man thinks everything should be on the table. Under leadership of the soldier, the group strategizes and decides to force a tie. They learn that voting for yourself is not allowed, so they try voting for a person on their right. Random person gets zapped. They assume someone made a mistake. They try again and the pregnant lady and a guy with glasses are highlighted. The guy gets zapped. The young guy points out that the guy with glasses was voting for the pregnant lady instead of the person to his right, and that's why he voted for him to tie. He further explains that in the end one person gets to live and the glasses guy tried to get rid of a likely survivor, the pregnant lady. The blonde guy says that if they get rid of the pregnant lady and the little girl, they'd all have a better chance. One armed guy says that if someone gets to live it should be on of them. Corporate man disagrees. Cancer lady says the pregnant woman counts as 2 people. The vote ties between the kid and an older woman. The woman gets zapped. The translator and the cancer lady are baffled by the votes on the little girl. The soldier and the young guy agree that they have to protect the 2 likely survivors as they have become targets. The vote ties between the pregnant lady, the kid and a guy behind them who shouts to kill them both before getting zapped. Craig thinks they should look for volunteers. No takers for a while until a 16-year-old Sean steps forward as he doesn't want to kill anyone. One armed guy says they shouldn't let him because he's too young, but the corporate guy and the guy with glasses argue that they should respect his choice. Before the round ends, another man steps off. Glasses and the corporate man keep fishing for volunteers. One armed guy says they should all step off except the pregnant lady. Glasses asks Sean if he's still volunteering and he says yes. They praise him with the corporate guy calling him a hero, and when the ringing comes they thank him for his sacrifice before he walks off, except they call him Scott. They already forgot his name. Everyone looks at the soldier expecting him to go next, but he says he's risked his life and sacrificed enough for all of them. He wants to see his newborn child. An older woman volunteers because she lost her son in an accident. The priest assures her that she'll see her son again and she steps off. Black Suit gets angry at the priest and mocks the faith in God throughout the round. The vote's a tie between him and another girl. To dismay of some, he lives. He then tries pushing a vote on the blonde by calling her a porn star, and when it doesn't work, a homewrecker bimbo. He gets zapped. Glasses proposes to take into account if people have children, saying he has 7. A few people giggle, doubting he's telling the truth. Craig says him and his wife have a daughter. Glasses suggests that people who don't have children should volunteer. Corporate guy questions a woman in the back while a younger girl gets zapped. The woman talks about her impressive achievements and comes out as gay. Corporate guy thinks a child shouldn't be raised by 2 moms and continues his homophobic speech until the ringing ends and he dies. Blonde guy wonders what happens when there's 2 people left. Young guy explains that one person must sacrifice in the end or they'll both die. One armed guy says he would do it. Cancer lady says they should choose someone they can trust, but the translator thinks they can't trust anyone. Blonde guy says they should decide and the Marine disagrees, saying whoever's left will make that choice. The blonde is curious what will happen if it comes down to the 2 of them. The doctor says they can decide for them. The vote's a tie between her and her friend and they die together. Blonde guy wants to vote out one of the 2, but the Marine thinks he's trying to get one foot in the door. Craig asks who would they choose between the 2. Glasses puts pressure on the pregnant lady with questions about occupation, but no one else cares. The Asian gets zapped. One armed guy asks Glasses about his work and he says he's a hard-working banker who gives to charity. He thinks he contributes more to society than the others. Translator, who's a psychology student, gets zapped. Blonde guy, Glasses and the couple want to vote on the Hispanic man next. Young guy worries that the selfish camp is approaching majority and begins counting the people who won't vote on the 2. Soldier, Cancer lady and one armed guy join him. The vote ties between the little girl and the Latino man who gets worried for her and steps off. Glasses campaigns to kill the 2. Blonde guy agrees. The couple and the African American join the selfish camp. It's a tie between Glasses and the kid. Glasses dies because the wife changed her vote. One armed guy says the best they can do is save 2 people instead of 1. The blonde is on the fence since she doesn't want to kill the kid, so the blonde guy pushes a vote on one armed guy instead and it goes through. The African American man says G.I. Joe's next. The Marine threatens to vote out the couple and they switch sides. He then calls out, "Everybody vote for the black guy!" Last second, and they do. Blonde guy questions the couple in anger and others join in. The wife folds under questioning. She forgot Craig's name. They were never married. They blame the idea on each other and Craig gets zapped. Blonde guy begins recruiting. The fake wife and the gay woman cave in. One man still hasn't spoken, but the blonde guy assumes he's on their side. He calls to vote on the army guy, but the blonde says to pick someone else, so he switches to the cancer lady. The vote's a 5-way tie between the blonde, the lesbian woman, the cancer lady, the Marine and the blonde guy. Only the blonde guy survives. With 7 left, the blonde guy tries to convince the pregnant lady to vote on the kid, but she passes. The priest apologizes and steps off. Blonde guy's ecstatic and offers the young guy to trade the fake wife for the kid, and they agree. The silent man doesn't vote and the woman dies. Young guy reveals that the older man hasn't voted a single time. Blonde guy thinks they're now voting on the silent man, but he dies instead. The older man grins. They now have to vote on him as there is no other choice. He dies honorably, not having participated in the slaughter. 3 left. The pregnant lady wonders why are they doing this to them. Young guy thinks the experiment's about learning human values and how humans judge each other. The pregnant lady asks what do they do now, and he tells her they have to decide between the 2 of them on what happens next and that someone has to step off or they'll both die. The atmosphere gets emotional when the little girl with tears in her eyes says she'll go, for the baby's sake. Both girls are crying. The young guy offers to go with her. When the ringing builds, he hurries her up and quickly votes on the pregnant lady as the little girl steps off. He looks relieved, but the ringing starts again. Confused about why the game isn't over, he curses whoever's doing this. He expects to die, but instead he's tied with the baby in the woman's belly. He votes and wakes up on the concrete. He sees multiple spaceships in the air. He's planned this out and tricked everybody to save himself. He sees a group of people watching the ships. A few pregnant women and many kids suggest these are the survivors. Subscribe for more content and thanks for watching.